from the studios of WOCA
Shamrock Security.
just off the runway at the Ocala International Airport. Galen Unoff brought to you from Life South, brought to you by the good folks at Penn Flooring, Palm Garden Health and Rehabilitation Center, and Just Shipped. Galen, let's switch gears and talk about something you and I both enjoy, and that's sports. I'm looking at a week's difference in standings, and I'm looking at your Rays. Your Red Sox are 3 games behind the Tampa Bay Rays. I still think this is a Red Sox-Rays race. I think the Yankees are probably out of this. I think it's the Rays and the Red Sox the rest of the ways down. But is there a chance, as bad as the Red Sox have played recently, 5-5 over the last 10? They hadn't really played really good ball in the last 20 games. Is there a chance that they can let the Rays get away from them?
Yeah, I think there is. I mean, they've won their last 3, but again, the Baltimore Orioles may be the worst organization in all of sports. So they played them over the weekend, which really, really helps. You, me, and 7 other guys could probably split a 4-game series with the Orioles. I mean, they're
bad. 40 games under 500.
Yeah, and they haven't had a 500 team ever.
They're 0-10 in their last 10 games. They're 0-10.
I think they're 0-11. Haven't they lost 11 straight?
Well, it just tells you the last 10. It just tells you the last 10, so they're 0-10. They are 0-11 for the last 11.
I think, I think it's like 12. They're
like 1-14. Yeah, they're like 3-12, or yeah, something like that. Right.
Crazy. So anyway, they're a terrible organization, and the Red Sox played them, and then they play the Twins, which will help, and their schedule helps them a lot. So I don't know if the Rays pull away, because the Rays and the Yankees always play the Rays tough. But we'll see. At least they won the games they needed to win. But I think they're a wild card team. I think the Rays win the division.
Rays have the best record.
Team.
The Rays have the second best record in baseball. Third best record, best record in the American League. But when I look at the National League, first off, I go to the National League East, which is the weakest division in baseball. I'll give you that. But at 62-56, the Atlanta Braves on top of that division.
The AL Central is pretty bad, and the AL West is pretty bad. I think what's going on in the NL East is you have 4 teams who are pretty close together, and it just depends on who's on the mound for them.
Well, the Braves are 8-2 in their last 10 games. The Braves have really picked it up in the last 10. They're 8-2. Everybody thought that when Acuna went down, their season was over. But they've been able to do some patchwork, fill some people in. No, I understand that they're not going to go deep in the playoffs, but a lot of people thought they would implode and not even be able to challenge the Phillies or the Mets. And now, by the way, DeGrom leaves the Mets with an injury. They become a dumpster fire overnight.
Yeah. Absolutely right. But again, the Braves without that really elite hitter in Acuna Jr., it's just not the same lineup, and it doesn't scare you. Right? With Acuna, everywhere you're at in a lineup, you're thinking, how many batters to Acuna?
Right.
And then you sprinkle in a little Freddie Freeman, and that roster becomes infinitely harder. But without Acuna, there's nobody there who really scares you. So if you give one up to Freddie, it's a 1-run home run instead of a 3-runner. It's a completely different set. So I think the NL West is by far and away the class of Major League Baseball with the way the Giants are playing.
76-42
is pretty atrocious.
The Giants are 76-42. That's 4 games ahead of the Dodgers, who are 72-46. By the way, the Dodgers and the Brewers have exactly the same line. The Brewers in the NL Central. People forget the Brewers are in the NL Central. That they play pretty good baseball. They're 72-47.
They do. They are.
And they don't get talked about as much.
Team in that.
Yeah.
No, it's because they're in Milwaukee. But again, if you took the Astros out of the AL, the only team we would be talking about would be in the AL East.
Yes.
There are no other good teams in the AL outside of the Astros, the Rays, and the Red Sox.
Well,
and I guess borderline would be the Yankees.
no. I think with the offense that they can put up, you got to give the White Sox something because the White Sox can throw a 10 spot up on you, and they are 68-50. They're 18 games over 500.
Yeah, I get it, but look who they get to play.
Well, I know you're right.
They
do play the Twins and the Royals.
Indians are terrible, and the Royals.
Well, the Indians are 57-59. You know, they're right at 500. The Tigers are.
You have to play the Royals 45.
Yeah, 19 times. They're terrible. But, same can be said that the Yankees and the Red Sox and the Rays get to play the Orioles 19 times.
Yeah, but they also have to play the Yankees, the Red Sox, and the Rays.
Well, that is a very good point. Very good point. That AL West is really weak, though. To me, that AL West, the Astros, and I know that the Athletics are 68-50, but again, you're playing the Mariners, the Angels, and the Rangers. Did we lose Galen?
Well, the problem with
there you are.
No, I'm here. The problem with the A's is their team is built for the regular season out the play.
It's only built for 162 games. It's not built for a 5 or 7 game series.
Whoever plays them, it's like, okay, well, we're going to beat you.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's the problem with Billy Ball.
Wild card.
That's the problem with Billy Ball is that type of baseball works over a long period of time, but in short series, it does not work at all.
Well, we'll see. I mean, they'll make the playoffs, right? They won't be a wild card. They'll actually make the playoffs, and let's see where they turn out. I think if they do make the wild card and they do play the Red Sox, the Oakland A's own the Red Sox this year. They just do. I think they played them. I think they've got 8 games against them, and I think the Red Sox have 1 win.
According to the Major League Baseball power rankings, they have the Arizona Diamondbacks as the worst team in baseball.
And that's also fair.
The Orioles are second worst. Here. Yeah, the Orioles are second worst.
But I'm going to say this. I think the Orioles are the worst organization in all of sports.
Top to bottom, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
I mean,
in all of sports.
Joe Walter thinking, we're everything. They got rid of, and they've been rebuilding for years. And the reason why I put them that high is they have arguably the greatest ballpark in Major League Baseball. I don't know of a better stadium from a fan perspective than Camden Yards.
Yeah, well, that's what keeps the Orioles afloat. Is that baseball park is just so great. I mean, if you've never been to Camden Yards,
honestly, if you put the Tampa Bay Rays in Camden Yards, it sells out every game.
Oh, it sells out every game, and they play well. Oh yeah. Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt. Hey, it is football season is in full swing now. Everybody's preseason teams cranked up this weekend. I caught some highlights. I didn't watch any preseason games because they're useless to me. But I did catch some highlights. One was of what's his name? Felipe Franks, quarterbacking the Atlanta Falcons. Looked terrible, but he's a rookie coming in, learning a new system and everything. He looked terrible, although he did scamper for some pretty good runs that surprised people with how fast he was at 6'5", how fast he was. But the game that I really watched most of the highlights for was the Jacksonville Jaguar game. Tim Tebow in 18 plays in the game, looked lost for 19 of those plays.
Yeah, again, I don't think anybody should be surprised by that. That's pretty funny. You know who's going to be a bust pretty quickly is Tua. Tua's terrible.
Yeah, now they got a 2-quarterback system, and they're openly saying we have a 2-quarterback system in Miami now.
Oh, that's terrible.
That's horrible. It's horrible.
That's terrible, isn't it?
But let's be honest.
Oof.
When was the last time, and he cranks out national championships, he wins football games, they win national championships. When was the last time that there was a quality NFL quarterback come out of the University of Alabama? I'll wait.
That's the question, right?
I'll wait.
Yeah, absolutely. That's absolutely the question.
I mean, is it Burt Jones?
Joe Namath?
Joe Namath? I mean, I'm being honest here. Good running backs come out that make it in the NFL. Good defensive backs, good linemen, good defensive linemen that come out of Alabama. Wide receivers, great wide receivers come out.
Tight end.
What about quarterback? Where's the NFL quarterback that for Saban to hang his hat on?
You really think Saban worries about that at night?
No, he could care less.
No.
He could care less. But, people talk about that they thought Tua was going to come to the NFL, and I'm like, why would you think that? Where is the body of work that says Saban's going to send you a quarterback that translates well to the NFL? Saban could care less about the NFL. He worries about winning at Alabama. If the quarterback can then get to the pros and turn his game towards that, that's fine. But Saban could care less about developing NFL quarterbacks.
Well, he cares about developing the quarterback so that they win football games.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
I mean, when you think about it, people said Tua was going to be the answer in Miami. When has an Alabama quarterback been the answer anywhere?
Fair question, Tom. Fair question.
I mean, it was like, and I know Florida fans hate when I say this, but Spurrier was the quarterback whisperer, and he was a fun and gun. He scored all these points and everything. But let's look at the careers of the quarterbacks that were so all-world with Spurrier. Shane Matthews, perennial backup in the NFL. Danny Werfel, Heisman Trophy winner. Couldn't get on the field in the NFL hardly.
He made a lot of money.
A lot of money. Yeah, Shane made a lot of money. I give you that. Rex Grossman, perennial backup, did get to a Super Bowl because of the defense. Yeah, because of the defense of that Chicago Bear team. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
But
what's the point? What's the point in the NFL?
Yeah, to win games, get the Super Bowl. Yeah, of course.
He did that.
Yeah. He did that. So, but I mean, when you look back at prolific quarterbacks, Spurrier doesn't have a long list of them either. Because Spurrier did the same thing. Spurrier did the same thing Saban did. He won at the level he was at. His job was not to worry about what happened after they graduated or after their eligibility was up. His job was to win at Florida Field when the Gators took the field in between the white lines. His job was to win football games, not worry about whether Danny Werfel was going to be able to play for the Saints for 13 years, not worry about whether Shane Matthews was going to be able to be the starting quarterback for the Bears for 10 years. That wasn't Spurrier's job. Spurrier's job was to win football games at Florida. And that's exactly what Nick Saban's doing, winning football games at Alabama. And for folks to think that Tua was going to be the answer because he came from Alabama, there's no evidence that that's a real possibility because Saban's never had a quarterback like that. All he's had is quarterbacks that win national championships, and that's all he cares about.
There you go.
Playoff this weekend in the Wyndham Championship.
Yeah.
6-person playoff.
I was pretty happy for Kisner.
Kevin Kisner.
I liked him as a player.
Yep, it was his third PGA Tour win, first since he won the 2019 World Golf Championship Dell Technologies match play. His last stroke play victory was at Colonial in 2017. So he's won, the Colonial's not something to shake a stick at. The World Golf Championship's not something to shake a stick at. So he's won some pretty good golf tournaments. But yesterday, they all played the first hole, getting the feel out and everything. That second hole, all he did was he had about 122 yards, hit a sand wedge to about, 3 feet, made the putt, won the golf tournament.
Yeah, it was good for him. Good for him. Keeps his card. He's a guy who really enjoys and makes the most of being on the PGA Tour, and I like that.
Is it time? And I know people listening to this show are going to say, "Tom, stop!" But is it time that our resident professional golfer think about? I don't think he's going to keep his card this year, so it's time to start thinking about preparing for the Korn Ferry Tour and being one of the top 3 or winning 3 tournaments next year on the Korn Ferry Tour to get his card back, because Ted Potter Jr. opened the Wyndham Golf Championship with a 6-under opening round, followed it up by a 7-over second round, +1, missed the cut again. I think it may be time to start concentrating on what's in it for next year with the Korn Ferry Tour and getting my card back.
Well, he's just got to get some consistency, right? And I don't know how you do that, but he's got to become more consistent. That's really been the weakness of his game.
Because he has the game to play with him. He has the game to play at that level.
Under, absolutely. Shoots 7 under, and then he backs it up with a +7. Same golf course. That's one of those you scratch your head at and go, huh, how the hell did that happen?
He finished day 1 tied for second. Finished day 2 missing the cut, 123rd.
Correct. Yeah.
I don't know if it's the partnership on the bag. I don't know if it's just concentrated on a new dad. He just had a second child. I don't know. Something's going on. If there's still lingering effects from the injury, the terrible injury he suffered 3 years ago. He had a spiral fracture of his ankle. A lot of people are saying that he's spending some time with Oosthuizen when Oosthuizen's here in town, and that will help his game. I know he has the game to play. I mean, he's won on the PGA Tour. He won the Greenbrier Invitational, and he won the Pebble Beach Pro-Am. So we know he has PGA. We know he has the ability to win on the PGA. You know, he has the ability to play any given day on the PGA. I mean, he shot 6 under in the opening round of the Wyndham. He knows how to play this game. I just don't.
Sure.
I don't know what's going on, and frankly, I don't know. You know, he's not young anymore. He's in his 30s now. Frankly, how much more does he want to do? I guess that's a question he has to ask himself too. How much more do you want to accomplish out here? Because he came from means that were not over the top, and he's made quite a bit of money in his career. And I promise you, knowing the guy, that money's in good shape in investments and everything. So it's not like winning only keeps his card. It's not like his life is going to change that much if he wins again, because I know how he invests, and he's a good guy. He's real good with his money, so it's not a money issue. He's out there playing now just to win and enjoy the game, and that up and down cannot be enjoyable, because I know, even as a hacker like me, I know what it's like to, in the camp one year. I opened the camp one year, shot 79. So I go, now I'm in good shape. Shot 91 the next day. So I know what the feeling of shooting real good and real bad on the same golf course is like. And sometimes it can be very, very frustrating.
Well, there's no doubt about that. No doubt. And I don't know what the solution to that is. Right? Is it mental? Maybe. I don't really know what the answer is. He's got to figure that out though. But I hope he's not hit back on the junior circuit.
Well, I don't know that there's enough time left for him to make enough money. I mean, the season ends, one more tournament and then they're in the playoffs?
Correct.
I don't know where he is on the FedEx Cup list. But FedEx, let me look at the FedEx standings real quick. But you got to finish the top 125 is where you have to finish. I think that's where you have to finish, is in the top 125. So let's see. I don't see him in the top 70. I don't see him in the top 70.
Oh, I think he's outside that cut range now. So
I don't see him in the top 125. Justin Rose is outside the 125. That's surprising to me. He's at 126. Ricky Fowler's out top to 125.
Well, neither one of them have played a lot of golf this year. So
I'm looking at some.
Yeah, they missed a lot.
I'm still going. Sean O'Hare at 168 on the list. Still hadn't got to our guy yet. Ted Potter Jr. 182 on the list. He's
got a lot of work to do.
A lot of work to do. Got to make the top 125. So, a lot ahead of him.
Yeah.
So it looks like It may be back to the Corn Ferry Tour for a couple tournaments. And, he can get sponsor exemptions and stuff like that, and he win. And all he's got to do is put 1 week together and win, and then he's back on tour with 2 years exemption and everything like that. So it's not like this is the be-all, end-all. But I just don't think he's ever fully recovered. His game is fully recovered yet from that. He was playing good, he was playing well, and then he stepped off that curb in a freak accident, loading up his car, and had a spiral fracture of his ankle. And, you got to walk, and walking is a big deal out there, and a spiral fracture of the ankle is not a fun injury.
Correct.
So, did you watch? I talked about how I didn't watch any of the preseason. I just watched highlights. Did you watch any preseason at all?
Football?
Yeah.
No.
None. They're only playing 3 games. They're only playing 3 games this year, which I think is good. Because they got the 17-game schedule this year.
All in on the quarterback for the Patriots, so we'll see how he turns out to be. So, he cares about it, but my Bucks will be fine.
Do you do fantasy football at all?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
See, I can't bring myself to do it. I can't bring.
Okay. I think it's enjoyable. It gives me a reason to watch.
Well, 2 reasons.
Without having to spend,
I procrastinate.
$1 a week in gambling.
One, I procrastinate and don't pay my entry fee on time, and so it makes everybody in the league aggravated. And when I say don't pay it on time, I pay it like 4 or 5 weeks after the league is over to whoever won the league, So that aggravates people that I don't pay on time. And then I get aggravated because I'm a huge Falcons fan, and to me, if I'm playing, the Falcons are playing against somebody and I got their defense or I got a wide receiver in that game, now I'm pulling against the Falcons. So my fantasy team, I just can't do it. I can't in good conscience pull against my favorite teams. And so but I know it's a phenomenon. I know it's a huge deal. It literally was one of the things. The rotisserie league was supposed to save baseball, but it spawned all this fantasy leagues that really made the gap between NFL football and every other sport even that much greater with fantasy.
Probably. Yeah, I think you could make an argument for it, but I think fantasy baseball is still the ultimate fantasy test, right?
Oh, yeah.
Once gambling is legal everywhere, it'll change all sports. Whether or not for the better or not, I guess, depends on your viewpoint.
Well, we'll be able to roll out football bets this year at the Hard Rock. That got approved by the Department of Interior. So, there's some court cases fighting it, but there's been no injunction. So it looks like game 1 there'll be some sports betting on football that you'll be able to, do it at Seminole Hard Rock Casinos. And I've heard that you'll be able to download the Seminole Hard Rock Casinos app and do it from your phone. So I'm looking forward to that.
That's the goal.
I'm looking forward to that because I just I think that when it's a $9 billion industry and only 15% of it is actually done legally. I think it's time the state start making some revenue, and I think it's time that Florida enjoys sports betting. So I'm looking forward to it. Hey, Galen, I saw this weekend I was out at the WEC for a outdoor expo, and I saw one of your employees out there that said, Galen needs to come give blood. I went, that's a very good point. I should call him and tell him to come give blood because the blood mobile was out at the.
I'm not eligible.
I know. The blood mobile was out at the WEC. So where's it at today?
Hey, we're at the Summerfield Walmart. I'm not eligible to give for another 3 weeks, and then I will give. You can guarantee that. So please, just get out there, give to get the wife, and donate blood. Thanks,
Galen. Talk to you tomorrow.
Bye, all.
We'll be right back after this timeout. 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, WOCA, The Source.
Broadcasting from the Ocala International Airport, this is WOCA AM, W242CA FM, Ocala, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Today in Ag News from the Southeast Ag. Now, while USDA's national